Emma never thought her life would turn out this way. Born in a small provincial town lost among endless fields and forests, she always dreamed of something bigger. The town was a typical representation of the countryside: one central street, a few shops, a school, a hospital, and the main employer, a small factory producing auto parts. From early childhood, Emma stood out among her peers. She was a serious and determined girl beyond her years. While other children played outside, she spent hours in the local library, engrossed in books about distant countries and big cities. "Emma, why are you sitting with a book again? Go outside and play." Her mother, Margaret, a simple woman who had worked at the factory all her life, often told her. "Mom, I'm interested," Emma would reply. Emma's father, Robert, worked at the same factory as a workshop foreman. He was proud of his daughter's school achievements, but didn't quite understand her drive for something greater. "Emma is our bright girl, a straight A student," he boasted to the neighbours. "But why does she need all this knowledge? She'll live here anyway, work at the factory." But Emma thought otherwise. Even in elementary school, she firmly decided that one day she would leave her town and achieve success in a big city. Her school years flew by. Emma was the best student in her class, participated in all the academic competitions, and won multiple contests. Her teachers predicted a great future for her. "Emma, you need to apply to New York," her homeroom teacher, Jennifer, told her. "With your abilities, you'll easily get into the best university in the country." These words only strengthened Emma's determination. She began preparing intensively, studying extra hours in the evenings and on weekends. When Emma was in her final year, representatives from a major university in New York came to their school. They held an academic competition, the winners of which were granted admission benefits. Of course, Emma participated. She completed all the tasks in record time and became the absolute winner. "Congratulations, Emma," the organisers said. "We'll be happy to see you among our students." Emma was on cloud nine. Her dream was beginning to take shape. But not everyone shared her joy. When she told her parents about her intention to study in New York, their reaction was mixed. "Emma, where are you going?" Margaret threw up her hands. "I don't want to spend my whole life in this hole," the girl replied firmly. "But what about us? What about your father? We'll be left here alone." Margaret continued anxiously. "Mum, I love you, but I have to live my own life. I can't stay here just because you want me to." Emma tried to speak gently but firmly. Her father was more accepting of her decision. "I once wanted to leave too, but I didn't dare. Maybe it was for the best." "But you're different. You're smart, beautiful, and you'll succeed," he said, hugging Emma. Despite her mother's resistance, Emma began preparing for her departure. She sold almost all her belongings to save money for her first few weeks in New York. The whole town was talking about her departure. Some admired her bravery, while others criticized her for leaving her parents. "Look at her, thinking she's a big city girl now," the neighbors whispered behind her back. "She won't last there. She'll cry and come back." But Emma ignored the gossip. She was full of determination and enthusiasm. Finally, after graduating with top honors, Emma set off to conquer the capital. Almost all of Springfield gathered at the train station to see off the girl who had dared to do what many only dreamed of. "Emma, just write to us," her mother cried, hugging her daughter. "Of course, Mom, I'll call every day," Emma promised, barely holding back tears. "Sweetheart, stay strong there. Don't let anyone take advantage of you," her father advised. The train started moving, carrying Emma into a new life. She looked out the window at her hometown fading into the distance and felt a mix of fear and excitement. The unknown lay ahead, but she was ready for anything. New York greeted Emma with noise, hustle, and indifference. Stepping off the train at Chicago, Union Station, she hesitated for a moment. People rushed past, cars honked, and advertising signs flashed. "All right, pull yourself together," Emma told herself. "You can do this." Her first priority was getting to her aunt, the only distant relative in New York, who had reluctantly agreed to let her stay temporarily. Her aunt, Linda, lived in an old apartment building on the city outskirts. When Emma, exhausted from the long subway ride and searching for the right address, finally rang the doorbell, she was met with the disapproving face of an elderly woman. "Oh, you're here," Linda said without enthusiasm. "Well, come in. The apartment was small, smelled of cats, and had a musty scent. Emma, I'm letting you stay, but not for long. A month at most, then you're on your own," Linda warned immediately. Emma nodded, understanding that even a month was more than she had expected. She was grateful for it. "Thank you, Aunt Linda. I'll try to find a job quickly and move out," the girl said. "We'll see," her aunt scoffed. "Make yourself at home. That's your corner." She pointed to an old, sagging couch in the corner of the room. Emma set down her bag and looked around. This wasn't what she had dreamed of, but it was a beginning, the beginning of her new life. The next day, Emma started looking for a job. She went around what seemed like every cafe and store in the area, but everywhere she got the same response. "No experience? Sorry." By the end of the day, Emma felt awful, but she didn't allow herself to give up. "Tomorrow is a new day," she told herself. "I will find something." When she came home, her Aunt Linda greeted her with a disapproving grunt. "I told you you're not needed in New York," she muttered. Emma remained silent, clenching her teeth. She would prove to everyone that she could make it. On the third day of searching, she finally got lucky. A small cafe near her aunt's home was looking for a waitress. "I don't have experience, but I learn quickly," Emma told the owner. The man gave her a critical once-over. "All right, we'll give it a try. The job is tough. If you can't handle it, you're out." "I'll handle it," Emma said confidently. And she did. She worked from morning until night, practically without days off. It was exhausting, but she never complained. This was her chance. Emma quickly got the hang of it. She was efficient, and customers often left her good tips. "Good job, kid," her boss praised her once. "You work well." That compliment meant more to Emma than any amount of money. She felt like she was finally getting on her feet. After a month, Emma saved up enough to rent a tiny room in a shared apartment. The conditions were terrible, but it was all she could afford. The room was so small that her bed barely fit. The wallpaper was yellowed and peeling in places. But to Emma, this room was a palace. It was her own place in New York. "Oh my God, how do you live here?" her mother, Margaret, gasped when she came to visit. "I live just fine, Mum. The most important thing is that it's mine," Emma smiled. Margaret shook her head but said nothing. She saw the determination in her daughter's eyes and understood. Alongside her job, Emma was preparing to apply to university. She was determined to get a higher education. Every evening after work, Emma studied. She stayed up late, often falling asleep right at her desk. "Emma, you're going to exhaust yourself," said her elderly neighbor, Patricia, a retired teacher. "I'll be fine, Patricia," Emma replied, and she was. No matter how exhausting it was, she saw this as her chance for a better life. After a year of relentless effort, Emma was accepted into the economics program at one of the most prestigious universities in New York. When she saw her name on the admissions list, she couldn't hold back tears. "I did it," she whispered, looking at the screen. "I really did it." Studying wasn't easy. She had to balance university and work, but Emma never gave up. She knew that every day brought her closer to her dream. In her first year, Emma met Jessica, a girl from a wealthy family. Jessica was the complete opposite of Emma, carefree, fun-loving, and always up for an adventure. "Emma, why are you always studying?" "Let's go out," Jessica would often say, but Emma rarely agreed. She couldn't afford to waste time on parties. "Jessica, I need to work and study," Emma replied. "Oh my God, you're such a bore." Jessica rolled her eyes but wasn't offended. She respected Emma's determination. Despite their different lifestyles, they became close friends. Jessica often helped Emma with her studies and supported her during tough times. In her second year, Emma met Daniel. He was tall, handsome, and immediately caught her attention. They met in the university cafeteria while Emma was eating alone, buried in a macroeconomics textbook. "Hey, I'm Daniel," a friendly male voice suddenly said above her. "Mind if I sit here?" Emma looked up and saw a smiling guy holding a tray. "Sure," she answered, slightly flustered. Daniel sat across from her and started chatting casually. He was studying in the same department but was a year ahead. At first, Emma gave short answers, but gradually she got drawn into the conversation. Daniel was a great conversationalist, smart and funny. "So, how about we go out sometime?" he suddenly suggested. Emma hesitated. She liked him, but she had work and studies. "Sorry, I'm working tonight," she finally said. "What about tomorrow?" Daniel persisted. "Tomorrow too," Emma smiled. "I see, you're a workaholic," Daniel laughed. "No worries, I'll wait until you have free time." And he really did wait. Every day in the cafeteria, he would sit with Emma and chat. Soon she found herself looking forward to seeing him. She even started timing her lunch breaks just to run into him. Finally, after 2 weeks, she agreed to go on a date. They went to a movie and then walked around the city at night. Emma couldn't remember the last time she had felt so light and free. "You're special," Daniel said as he walked her home. "Not like all these other New York girls." "That's because I'm not from New York," Emma smiled. "Oh, where are you from?" Daniel asked with interest. So Emma told him her story about the small town of Springfield, about her dream, about how she came to New York and was trying to build a life for herself. Daniel listened with genuine interest. "You're amazing," he said when she finished her story. "You're so strong and determined. I admire you." These words made Emma realize that someone truly appreciated her efforts, her desire for a better life. She and Daniel started dating. He was attentive and caring, often helping Emma with her studies, and even covering her shifts when she needed to prepare for an important exam. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt truly happy. She allowed herself to relax and just be a girl, not just someone constantly working and studying, but happiness didn't last long. One day, Daniel invited Emma to his home to meet his parents. "Don't worry, they're good people," he reassured her. But there was reason to worry. Daniel's parents were wealthy and, to put it mildly, snobbish. "So you're the famous Emma," his mother, Catherine, said, eyeing her critically. "Daniel has told us a lot about you." Emma felt uncomfortable under her gaze but forced herself to smile. "It's very nice to meet you, Catherine." "Likewise, dear. I hope you understand the responsibility that comes with dating my son." The woman's tone carried a clear hint. "Mom, stop," Daniel interjected. "Emma is a wonderful girl, and I love her." "Of course, son. I just want to make sure she's worthy of you," Catherine said smoothly. Emma felt uneasy but tried not to show it. She knew that her relationship with Daniel's mother would not be easy. After that visit, Daniel started to change. He became more distant and often cancelled their dates, saying he was busy. "Daniel, what's going on?" Emma finally confronted him. "Nothing," he shrugged. "Just a lot of work." But Emma knew it wasn't just about work. She suspected that Daniel's parents were against their relationship. Her fears were confirmed when one day she accidentally overheard Daniel's phone conversation with his mother. "Mom, I love her," Daniel was saying. "Why does it matter where she's from? No, I'm not going to leave her just because she's not from our circle." Emma's heart sank. She knew she was facing a choice, either fight for her love or step aside. That evening, she made her decision. "Daniel, I understand," she began. "Your parents don't approve of me. I don't want you to have to fight with them because of me. Maybe we should break up." Daniel looked at her in surprise. "Emma, what are you talking about? I love you. Yes, my parents have their prejudices, but that's their problem, not ours. I'm not giving you up." Emma realized she was ready to fight for her happiness, no matter what. Time passed. Emma graduated from university and got a good job at a bank. She and Daniel moved in together, and a year later, they got married. "My dear, I'm so happy for you," Margaret cried at the wedding. "You're such a beautiful bride." "Thank you, Mum." Emma hugged her, barely holding back tears. "Well, congratulations," Catherine said coldly, handing them an envelope with money. At first, married life felt like a fairy tale. Daniel was a loving and caring husband. They travelled a lot and made plans for the future. But gradually, Emma started noticing changes. Daniel stayed late at work more often and became more irritable. "Daniel, is everything okay between us?" Emma asked one evening. "Of course, just a lot of work," he brushed her off. But Emma felt that something was wrong, and her worst fears were confirmed in the most painful way. That day, she came home earlier than usual. As she opened the door, she heard strange noises from the bedroom. What she saw changed her life forever. Daniel was in bed with another woman. "Emma, you're home early," he stammered, but Emma wasn't listening anymore. She turned and walked out of the apartment. She wandered the streets, barely noticing anything around her. Only one thought repeated in her mind. How could he? How could he do this to me? Emma returned home late that night. Daniel was waiting for her. "Emma, let's talk," he began. "What's there to talk about, Daniel?" "I saw everything," Emma said wearily. "It was a mistake." He tried to take her hand, but she pulled away. "You love me? This is how you love me." Emma laughed bitterly. "You know what? Pack your things and leave." "Emma." "Leave, Daniel. I don't want to see you again," she said firmly. Daniel tried to say something else, but seeing the determination on Emma's face, he left. That evening, Emma sat in her once happy apartment, staring blankly ahead. Then her phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Miss Emma, I'm calling regarding your great-aunt's estate. She left you an inheritance. I'd like to discuss the details tomorrow." The next day, a lawyer arrived. As it turned out, Emma's great-aunt had been a wealthy woman and left her a significant inheritance. A few apartments in the city centre, a country house, and a large sum of money. I don't know what to say," Emma was in shock. "You'll need to sign the necessary paperwork," the lawyer said matter-of-factly. "I'll explain everything." Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Catherine, Daniel's mother. "Emma, how could you do this to my son?" she shouted the moment the door opened. "Calm down, I'm busy right now," Emma said firmly. "Busy with what? My son is suffering and you—" "Your son cheated on me," Emma interrupted. "And I don't want to discuss this." Catherine froze but quickly composed herself. "So what if he cheated? All men cheat. You should learn to forgive." "You know what, Catherine? I'm not going to tolerate this, neither your son's infidelity nor your lectures. Please leave." "How dare you talk to me like that?" Catherine screeched. "I dare, and if you don't leave right now, I'll call the police," Emma calmly replied. Catherine shot Emma a furious look and stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door loudly. "I apologize for that," Emma turned to the notary. "Let's continue." News of Emma's inheritance spread quickly. The next day, Daniel called her. "Emma, darling, let's talk," he started in a honeyed voice. "We have nothing to talk about, Daniel," Emma cut him off. "But I love you. It was a mistake. Let's just forget about it," Daniel pleaded. "You know what? I'm filing for divorce, and don't call me again," Emma said, and hung up. Catherine was furious when she found out that her former daughter-in-law had received a huge inheritance and had kicked Daniel out. When her son came to her and told her Emma had thrown him out, she was shocked. But when she learned about the inheritance, she was horrified and screamed at him. "You idiot! How could you mess this up? Tell me." "Mom, she came home early. I didn't know." Daniel tried to defend himself. "You didn't know? And now she has all that money and we can't take it from her." Catherine paced around the apartment, unable to contain herself, but she had no idea what was coming next. A few hours later, Emma arrived with a team of movers, and announced that she was taking back everything she had ever bought for Catherine. Over the years, Catherine had often asked Emma to buy her things: a new stove, a refrigerator, furniture, and Emma had helped. But now, knowing that Catherine had covered up her son's cheating, she decided to take it all back. "You have no right," Catherine screeched. "I do. Here are the receipts for all the purchases," Emma replied calmly, showing a stack of documents. Catherine fell silent, watching helplessly as all the appliances and furniture were carried out of her apartment. Her once comfortable home was now nearly empty. She had thrown away her old things long ago, and now all she had left was a bare kitchen and hallway. Meanwhile, Emma was satisfied. She divorced Daniel quickly, since there was nothing to divide. Her apartment had been hers before the marriage, and her inheritance was untouchable. One day, while returning from work, she ran into Daniel at the entrance of her building. "Emma, please, let's talk," he pleaded. "We have nothing to talk about, Daniel," she said wearily. "I was such a fool. I understand everything now. I've changed." Daniel tried to take her hand, but she pulled away. "You know what, Daniel? I'm actually grateful to you," Emma said unexpectedly. Hope flickered in Daniel's eyes. "Really?" "Yes, thanks to you, I realized that I can be happy on my own, that I don't need to depend on a man or his mother. So thank you for that lesson. And now, goodbye." Emma turned and walked toward her building. "Emma, wait!" Daniel called after her, but she didn't even look back. Once in her apartment, Emma walked to the window and saw Daniel trudging away, his head down. For a moment, she felt a twinge of nostalgia, but the feeling passed quickly. She smiled at her reflection in the glass. Yes, life had thrown many surprises her way, some good, some bad, but she had made it through. And now she had a bright future ahead, one that she would build for herself. Meanwhile, her ex-husband and his mother were left to regret their actions. Daniel struggled to find a job. News of his betrayal had spread through their social circle. And Catherine? She had to accept that her dreams of a wealthy daughter-in-law were shattered. But Emma was above it all. She simply lived her life, enjoying each day and appreciating what she had. And you know what? She was truly happy. That's her story. Like and subscribe for more.